welcome to Limitless Living, the podcast for women who know they are meant for more clarity, more energy, more purpose, and a life that actually feels good to live. I'm your host, Frederica Davis, entrepreneur, wellness strategist, and the creator of the Reset Method. If you've spent years holding it together, I mean, just holding everything together, you've been building a career, caring for your kids, your parents, for other people, managing a household and pushing through stress and responsibility. But somewhere along the way, you started to feel overwhelmed, maybe exhausted and disconnected from yourself. I promise you, you are not alone. This podcast is where we talk about what's really happening in our bodies, our minds, and our lives as women over 40 and how to reset without burning everything down and without breaking down in the process or having anything fall apart. Each episode blends real conversation, practical strategies, and a deeper look at how our nervous system, health, identity, and daily choices shape the way that we feel and live. So take a breath, settle in, and let's begin. So lately, it just feels like everyone is anxious, whether they have an anxiety diagnosis or not. Maybe they have an ADHD or a hyperactivity level to themselves or a distraction, a feeling of distraction. It just seems like everybody is like that. And how is that even possible? I mean, really. But everyone feels, in my experience and what I'm seeing with my clients and in our wellness center, and even just in my personal circles, everyone feels so overwhelmed. Everyone feels like their brain just can't focus. Now, before I say anything else, I do want to be very, very clear about something. I am not a doctor, and I absolutely am not here to dismiss real diagnoses, real conditions, or medication that people genuinely need. Those things are real, and I get that, and they matter. But is another question that just begs to be asked. What if part of what we are experiencing right now, what we're experiencing in ourselves and all around us, what if it's not just anxiety? Or what if anxiety is the result of it versus the ingrained problem or diagnosis for us to have? What if our nervous systems are simply overwhelmed by the way modern life works or actually doesn't always work? So, think about your average morning. We'll start there. Before many of us even get out of bed, what's the first thing we do? We reach for our phones. I've done it. I try very hard to make a point of not doing that in the morning. And I might reach for it to turn the alarm off. I have to confess there because sometimes I need a couple alarms, but I don't look at it. So most of us, though, that's what we do before we get out of bed. So many of you, are you doing that? And then we do this, if you're doing this, your brain is immediately flooded with stimulation. Maybe it's your emails, your messages, your notifications, your text messages, social media, news headlines, whatever it is. We are all doing this on some level. So if you are making decisions before your feet even hit the floor, then you get up and you start the day and you're thinking, okay, what am I going to wear? Years and years and years ago, we didn't have quite so many things in our closet, really. Now you're standing in front of a closet full of choices. And if you're anything like me, I'm going to confess, true confession here. You might even be thinking, I really should simplify this closet. I really have too many damn clothes. And, but not today. I just don't have it in me today. Or that's a bigger project than I'm ready to get to. Now, getting dressed has already taken you longer than it should. And you're looking and you're trying to put something together and you're thinking to yourself, okay, what am I going to wear? And what do I need to be? How comfortable do I need to be today? How do I want to look to the people I'm going to see? How do I want to feel in my clothes? All these things. So you might not consciously be realizing you're doing this because it's all habit. We're doing this in such level of habit. Then there's breakfast. Do I make eggs or I make a smoothie? Is it coffee first, protein shake? Is it something quick? Wait, what was that nutritionist said? Or what was that TikTok said about doing this in the morning first? We have all these things in our head right away, and we haven't even started the day. Then the day starts to begin, right? So if you drive, maybe you get stuck in traffic and you have the stress of the traffic. Then you have the rush. If you're a person who tends to rush, maybe you get to work and you have all these work demands. Most of our jobs today, if you're working for somebody else, and if you're an entrepreneur, this is definitely true, but you're probably doing the work of 12 people. If you're an entrepreneur, it's because you don't have enough of the right systems or enough of the right people in place so that you're not doing that. And if you're working for a company, it's chances are they just expect that because that's how it goes. So then there's deadlines, then there's expectations, then there's the superstores that we have to go grocery shopping at on the way home. Instead of it being simple basics that we choose to make for dinner, we have these unlimited numbers of choices. So if you are a woman listening to this, there is a good chance that you're not only managing work, you're managing a family. I'm betting you might be managing a family. If you're not, you're probably managing something else. Maybe it's a spouse, a household, sometimes aging parents. Sometimes it's just trying to manage getting through the day. Somewhere inside all of that, you're supposed to also manage your health and your body and your goals and your emotional well being and so on. Now, that's a lot. That was a lot just listening to me, I bet. And what happens is your nervous system, it's not designed for constant stimulation and constant decision making. It's just not. We are not meant to be constantly like that. And then expect us to be top of our game constantly like that. So here's what happens. You live in this world of abundance, which is a beautiful thing. We do have all these wonderful choices, but the endless choices, the endless amounts of information. Now, I will tell you all, first class confession, I am an information junkie. That's the best way I can put it. I literally crave learning. I'm a curious person. I want to learn. I want to dissect it. I want to understand it. I want to see the proof. I want to understand all of it before I'll take it at face value. So I don't want to hear what a newscaster tells me. I want to hear it out of whomever's mouth firsthand. And then I want to compare both sides of the fence so that I can come to my own conclusions. That's the kind of person I am. So I really do research. I really do put thought into things. I really do make sure to the best of my ability that what I'm talking about, what I'm thinking, what I'm believing, what I'm doing is correct. And it's my take on it, not somebody else's take. So with that is constant information. All right. So this is endless input, endless input. Now, learning all the time is beautiful. It's wonderful. We should all embrace learning all the time. But we are just bombarded. I mean, we really are bombarded with information and endless input, just endless. So while abundance, it sounds wonderful and we all strive for abundance. Abundance is a big buzzword on many levels out there in the world. And I think we all should have a wonderful, beautiful, abundant life, abundant in love and caring and prosperity and all kinds of things. Abundance, though, biologically, it can overwhelm your brain. So if you're feeling like you're anxious, if you're feeling like you're overwhelmed, if every decision feels like it takes energy, if every notification pulls your attention, if every piece of information activates your nervous system, by the end of the day, many people feel just completely wired and exhausted at the same time. And that makes it hard to concentrate. And you can think, oh, it's my ADD or oh, it's my ADHD or oh my gosh, I just have anxiety. And it's not because you're weak, it's because your nervous system has been running on overload all day and maybe all night. We do it right up until we go to bed. So the question becomes this: how much of what we are calling anxiety is actually nervous system dysregulation? I bet it's so high. I don't have a statistic for you. I tried, I looked, I just couldn't find it. However, there is a tremendous amount to point to the fact that our nervous systems at all ages, to our children, all the way up through us and beyond, our nervous systems have become so dysregulated that that has directly caused and or contributed to pre-existing conditions, and that gives you attention problems. It gives you anxiety, stress, worry, sleepless nights. It's actually chronic overstimulation that's either causing or adding to. So, again, this does not replace medical care, what I'm talking about, but it does give another lens for you to look through. It gives you a way, another perspective on maybe how you want to approach this. So maybe you can minimize medicines, or maybe you don't need medicines, or maybe you just need some small sustainable shifts in your life and a regulated nervous system versus a dysregulated nervous system. Because when we understand the nervous system, we realize something very important. Sometimes the solution is not more effort. Sometimes the solution is regulation. So, what if we started with something small? What if you started with something small? Instead of beginning your day with your phone, what if you began your day with your body? Maybe you get out of bed and before you look at the phone, and if you're like me and you've used it for, your alarm clock, you can push it half blindly because you know how to do that without really looking at it, okay? You can, I promise you can. I do it every morning. And what if you got out of bed and you did a nice big long stretch? It doesn't have to take long. It can be a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Just give your body a little chance to get the circulation going, a nice big long stretch, and noticing how your body's feeling. If there's something stiff, if there's, if you feel rested, if you feel energetic, just give yourself a nice, good long stretch. And then before you tackle your phone, what if you went into the kitchen and you got a glass of warm lemon water and you stood by a sunny window and you sipped it even for 5 minutes? This stimulates your digestion. It does a whole bunch of other wonderful physiological things we'll get into as we go into, as I talk about things like that. But it also signals to your system, your nervous system. You're standing there sipping and holding a warm cup of warm tea, warm lemon water, whatever it is, it signals to your system that you are safe and you are calm, and it's a quiet moment. And if you're doing it in front of a sunny window, even better. And you're letting your eyes adjust to the natural light. Now I know those of you with these crazy busy mornings and kids and this and whatever you got going on who are listening going, are you kidding me? I don't have time like that in the morning. I promise you, if you choose to start your day a little bit differently, your entire day has a much higher chance of going the way you want it to. You sailing through the day much easier instead of feeling like you're dysregulated or all over the board or anxious the whole day. I promise you. I see it over and over and over again with women going through my programs over and over and over again. So maybe a few quiet moments before the noise of the world begins. Or maybe it's something as simple as a 10-minute walk outside every day. Not an intense workout, just some movement, some fresh air, and it's the space without an earbud and somebody talking or singing or podcasting in your ear. I want you to listen to the podcast. However, that 10 minutes where you can hear the world around you, focus on how the air smells and feels, even if it's cold, that will clear your mind and set a different tone and release the dysregulation and help you regulate. So it doesn't have to be an intense workout to do these things. It's just movement. You get the picture. So these are small actions. They send signals to your body when you do these that you are safe. And we need to feel safe in our nervous system in order for our bodies to do a multitude of things. In fact, a lot of times I see people, they're doing all the right dieting things, they're doing all the right exercise things, or so they think they are, and they can't budge a pound. Chances are they have a dysregulated nervous system. And when you start addressing the nervous system, and maybe you need to address a little inflammation and a little of a few other things, it depends on what it is, but the nervous system is the one common denominator. And when you do that, most of the other things get a little bit better, and then sometimes you even release weight. It's crazy what I've seen, what I've experienced too. I'm going to say I've experienced this firsthand. So the feeling safe, that's your foundation in your nervous system. A regulated nervous system feels calm, feels safe. So, modern life is so fast. It's stimulating, it's demanding. It can be wonderful. I'm not saying these things are always bad, but that doesn't mean we have to live in them in a constant state of all this overwhelm. Sometimes the most important, powerful changes come from the smallest things that you do. These become these small, tiny shifts. And the small ones are the ones that are sustainable. They're the ones you can do with consistency. Because that's really the key. Big monumentous gestures, changes, overhauls, they don't usually stick. And the small ones, where you can get them to become consistent, they actually give you bigger results than these big monumental changes and overhauls that we all tend to gravitate to in order to change something in our lives or move forward or grow or whatever it is we're trying to do. It's actually less stimulation, but more intention and consistency that will matter more than anything. So small daily habits, little rituals, if you want to call them that, they tell your nervous system that it is actually safe to slow down. And then all your other systems function better. They just do. So whether you have an anxiety diagnosis or you have a ADHD diagnosis or whatever it is that you have going on, this will apply. And even if you don't have those, you're just feeling overwhelmed. This all applies. So I encourage you to pick any of the things we talked about and see where in your life. Start with your morning. The morning is one of the best places to start. First thing in the morning and last thing in the end of the day. Those are the two best places. Don't do them both, but pick something like maybe a warm lemon water or standing in front of a sunny window and just letting your eyes adjust to the natural light while you sip it. That one little ritual in the morning. That's it. Pick whatever resonated with you in this podcast. I'd love to hear how this feels different for you, to your body, your mind, how your day goes differently. And if something in today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love to invite you to continue the conversation inside our Limitless Living community. I created it so we could continue the conversation and connect. It's a free private group where women are learning how to regulate their nervous systems, care for their bodies, and create lives that just feel calmer, stronger, more intentional, healthier, all of it. Nothing is off limits. You'll find the link in the show notes, and I would truly love to have you join us there. If you've enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you followed the podcast and shared it with a friend who might need to hear this message today. Thank you for spending this time with me. And until next time, take care of yourself. And remember, sometimes the most powerful reset, it just begins with the tiniest, smallest shift. Nicely